So the instructions are going to be exactly the same. Write the environment diagram that results from executing the following code. So first things first, we're going to make a global frame. Global. And now we're going to read our code from the top down. So let's first define a function this. It's a function this. It takes as an argument x, and its parent is global. So let's call parent global. Okay. Now we have a second function that. We're not going to read the inside of this function until we actually call it. So our second function is that. It's a function that takes as an argument x again, and it's got a parent and global. Okay. Now we have two just normal variables, x and y. And x is given the value 1, y is given the value 2. And now we're going to call this and that y. Okay, so first things first, we're going to evaluate our operator. We see what our operator is, it's this. Now we see what our operand is, and it's an expression that we need to evaluate. So let's do the same thing. Let's evaluate what our operand is. So that, we need to now evaluate the operator of this operand. So that is a function up here that we've defined, and it's being passed in the value 2 for y. All right, so let's make a new frame for this, or for that, I should say. Frame 1, it's got a global parent. The parent is the frame in which the function was defined. Okay. So now it has a local variable. It's going to be x, right? And it's given the value 2, which is what y is in the global frame. So let's do that. And now we're able to read the inside of this function. Okay, so we passed in a passed in a local variable x. Now we're going to reassign x to y plus 1. So it's going to be 2 plus 1. So we're going to reevaluate x, or reassign x to 3. And now we make a local variable this, which is going to be equal to the value of the variable that. We don't have a variable that inside of our frame 1. So we're going to go look at our parent. Our parent is global. We have a that right here. And so now we're going to point to the function that points to. Okay, and now we're going to return the value of x. So our return value is going to be 3. Okay, so now we've evaluated what this is. We can think of this now as the value 3. Now we're going to call the function this on the value 3. So let's make a new frame because we're calling a function. This. This has a local variable x. And that local variable x is assigned the value 3. And make sure you don't forget your parent. Parent is global. So we have a local variable x, it's assigned the value 3. And now we can read the inside of our function here. Okay. We're going to our return value is going to be equal to 2 times a call to that with the argument x. We see x is equal to 3. So let's evaluate our operator. Operator is that. We don't have a named variable that in our frame 2, so we're going to go to our parent. Let's go to our parent. Our parent is global, and so we're going to call that right now from our global frame. We're going to call the variable, we're going to call the function that we find in our global frame named that. That points to the function that, which was defined in our global frame. So we're going to make a new frame, frame 3. It's going to be that with the parent global. That has a local variable x, which we pass in to be 3. And our return value for that, oh, it has other things. So that is going to have, it's going to reassign x to be y plus 1. It's going to look inside of its frame 3 first. Doesn't find y, so it's going to look to its parent, which is global. It finds y is equal to 2, and it's going to assign x to 2 plus 1, which is 3. And now we're going to reassign the function, or the name this, but only inside of our local frame, to the value of that. And we need to look up where that is. We first look in frame 3, we don't find that. We're going to look to our parent. Our parent is global. We see that, so we're going to point our function up here. And now our return value, excuse me for running out of room, our return value here is going to be equal to 3. Okay, so we can cross this out, and this is 3. So now our return value is equal to 6, and that's what we're going to return up from this. Okay, so a few things to note. When we called this right here from our global frame, we looked in our global frame for this. We looked in our global frame for the value of this, and not in our frame for that. And this is because we're calling this function from the global frame. Okay, that's just a key point to keep.